Welcome to this series of tutorials to create a low poly character in Blender, where we will set up the model sheets of our character. To achieve this, we're gonna learn to enable add-ons in Blender to import the vectors in SVG format, navigate in the 3D view in different ways in order to adapt us on different workplaces, combine our objects to work more easily, enable the measure system in our scene to set up the dimension of our character, ways to manipulate the origin of the objects for rotating and scaling according our needs, change the display option of our objects in edit mode to work conformably, and finally, make and apply transformations on how to rotate, scale, and move objects precisely for aligning the view of our character. Let's get started. Before working with Blender, I want to show you the vector sketch of the character that I made in Inkscape. For this tutorial, we will use the .svg file of this sketch that you can download through the link I leave here in the screen or in the description. Since the series of tutorials we will focus mainly in Blender. For now, you don't need to worry about installing Inkscape and vectorize, since both things are optional in case you want to check the scene in this program or if you want to design your own character. Once open Blender, the first thing that we do is check if you have enabled the add-on that allows you import the SVG format. I suggest using the versions 2.7 or later to have all the tools which we will work with. OK. We will enable the user preference pressing Ctrl-Alt-U. Click on Add-ons. Go into the search box and type on it SVG. Now check if the option Import, Export, Scalable Vector Graphics is marked. If it is not, click on the checkbox. Now go to File, Import, Scalable Vector Graphics. Open the folder where we have the file. Copy the path. Paste it in Blender. Select the file and click on Import SVG. Go into the 3D view and press C to change the display mode of the view and see through the cube. The reason of this is that always we import an object in Blender, these appear in the center of our 3D scene with different size. This also for use to zoom in or out the view, for we can localize it. To make the movement, rotate the wheel mouse. In case the wheel doesn't work, press Ctrl and drag the mouse while you hold down the middle button. If we make movements up or to the right, we do zoom in, while the movements down or to the left are to zoom out. If your mouse has neither a middle button nor a wheel, go to File, User Preference, or press Ctrl-Alt-U. Click on Input and activate the Emulate 3-button mouse checkbox. Once enabled that option, press Alt, Ctrl, and drag the mouse while holding the left mouse button to zoom in or out the view. Other option is through the numpad, pressing the plus button to zoom in or the minus button to zoom out. In case you don't have numpad, Go again to the User Preference window. Go to Input and activate the Emulate Numpad checkbox. In this way, the plus and minus button of the keyboard now have the same functions of the plus and minus numpad. Now you know all this. Zoom in totally to the cube until you can see the sketch of the character. Now we will rotate the view. For that, move the mouse holding the middle mouse button. Without a middle mouse button, it can be done with Alt left click. It is necessary to clarify that in order to make the combination work, the Emulate 3-button mouse option must be enabled. On Input, under User Preference. Knowing this, rotate the view until the sketch is displayed better. Good. Now to move the view, press Shift plus middle mouse button in order to center the sketch. To move the view without the middle mouse button, must be taken in account again that the Emulate 3-button mouse checkbox in User Preference must be enabled, and use Alt Shift left click. It is important for users that use a mouse without middle button, clicking on Save User Settings button in User Preference. Now, save the file in the folder of your project. This will make the changes in the Blender settings to be set as default. The next step will be placing the sketch in the center of the 3D spaces. But before you to pay attention to this, right-click anywhere on the sketch. As you can see, only one part is highlighted in orange. This means that the objects are separated. Focus your attention in the orange point, which is the origin of each object in Blender. If you select each part of the sketch, you can notice that the origin of each one is located in the center of the 3D view, and not in the center of each object. The problem that represents the separate objects with the origin in that position is at the moment to center automatically, we will have that each piece will be located in the center of the scene, being an undesired result. Also, centering the origin in each object is not appropriate, since centering the sketch in the scene would require more steps. Now that issues have explained, let's continue. Press B to activate the border selection and choose all the elements to the sketch. Ctrl J to combine all selected objects, then change the origin of this object. Ctrl Alt Shift C, Geometry to Origin. And thus we have the sketch centered in our scene. Going to the front view, 1 in the numpad, or 1 on the alphanumeric keyboard with Emulate Numpad activate. Now go to the orthogonal view, 5 in the numpad. Look at the upper left corner of the 3D view. It indicates our current location. To check it, look when I press 5 again. Now the 3D view indicates that we are in front perspective. And when I press 5 again, I return to front orthogonal. We will rotate the object 90 degrees in the x-axis. First, press R. Then, press X. Now see the inferior left corner of the view how change the values while we move the mouse. That means at this moment we can assign a fixed value. In this case it will be 90, so that the object is locked into the 90 degrees rotation. Once assigned the rotation, press Enter to accept the command. Now zoom out the view. Ctrl plus middle mouse button or Alt Ctrl left click. Then you can see the cube. For me, it's always important to consider the measure my character might have in meters, since this serves as reference to compare them to the other objects. Press N to activate the Property panel. Go to Transforms, then on Dimensions, where you can see the dimension values of the selected object. To know the dimension our objects have in our scene, go to this icon in the Property view and click on the Metric button to activate the metric system. See how the values under Dimensions in the Property panels are updated when you enable and disable the metric option. Select the cube, right-click. Since right now we will use as reference to the height of our character. Go to the Dimension 3 property of cube and assign the height value that you want for the character. In my case, I will assign 1.6 meters. Now select the sketch again. Press S to scale little by little the object, keeping in mind that now the y-axis of this object corresponds to its height. As you can see, the object is growing out of the cube bounds, but ideally it is fit within those limits. Stop scaling the object by a moment. We are going to reassign the origin again. Ctrl, Alt, Shift C. Select Geometry to Origin. Press F6. Go to Center. Then click on Median Center and choose Bound Center. You can also do it in the Toolshift panel as long as you don't do a different action. Note: if appears Bound Center first, select Median Center and then Bound Center again until the sketch is centered. Press S to continue scaling the sketch until the height of the character matches the height of the cube. Press Shift while you move the mouse if you want more precision. Once the sketch matches the height of the cube, press Tab to enter to edit mode. By doing so, you will see a lot of lines that come out in all directions. These are the normal of our curves. We need disable them since we aren't going to use them. Go to Curve Display in the Property panel and uncheck Normals, so that the normals are not displayed anymore. Then, we will disable Handles to stop displaying the handles and have a cleaner view of our sketch. We are going to center the front view of the sketch, aligning with the blue line which is the z-axis of our 3D view. Press A to select all vertices, press G, then X, and move the sketch until the blue axis stays in the center of the front view of the character. To align better, zoom in until the neck of the character. In my case, I will align this vertex with the Z-axis. Once this vertex is aligned, zoom out the view until you can see completely the sketch again. Right-click on any vertex from the side view of the character. B to select all vertex from the side view. Now we will rotate the object on 90 degrees on the Z-axis. Press R, then C, type 90, and press Enter. Now we will align the object to the Z-axis. Press G, then X, and move the object until that matches with the axis, and press Enter. Finally, press Tab to return to object mode. We have prepared our character views. And here finish this tutorial. I hope this tutorial has helped a little. In the next tutorial, we will use the curves from the sketch to modeling our character. If you have some suggestion or some question, or simply you want to express something, please use the comment box. I wait you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I wish you a productive day. Keep dreaming!